Yo quiero presentar Felicity Hand como profesora de universidad de la Universidad Autónoma de Barcelona, del Departamento de Inglés. Pero sobre todo, hablar de su línea de investigación, porque versan sobre literatura de la India, el sur asiático y su diáspora, y de la escritura sudafricana. Es especialista, no en el orden que yo lo digo, sino aquí el orden de los factores no altera el producto final, pero es especialista en cine indio, y su orientación va a través de la autocrítica, de la ecocrítica, perdona. Y los estudios se interesan en la víctima de la violencia de género. Es muy importante que sepamos que tu línea de investigación es muy amplia, en el sentido que de una base tiene unos tentáculos que se orienta al género, a la literatura, a la antropología y a la escritura. Entonces, pero si los estudiantes quieren saber exactamente más en profundidad lo que la profesora está haciendo, pues tiene un blog donde verán que ha dirigido muchas tesis doctorales sobre temas como poesía y pintura de Tagore, la construcción de la cultura queer en la India, literatura comparada, que incluso ha dirigido una tesis sobre una comparación entre Juan Ramón Jiménez y Tagore. Pero bueno, también es una profesora que, como muchos antropólogos y escritoras, viajan a lo largo del ancho mundo, y ha visitado también centros de estudio de la Universidad de Oxford, de la Universidad de Johannesburg, de Cambridge y de Hyderabad en la India.
So, Indialogs, Spanish Journal of India Studies, focuses on the Indian subcontinent, which of course is India itself, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. Of course, most of the articles we receive actually are about India, but I mean, we're very happy to publish on other parts of the Indian subcontinent. It is an open access journal, which is something which I think is absolutely essential. I mean, culture shouldn't cost money. I mean, everybody should have access to culture. So this is one of the initiatives of my university. So when that was available, you know, I jumped on the bandwagon. It's an academic journal, but also we want to reach out to a sort of a general public, because we want people in Spain in particular to find out about India. Obviously, it's a forum for scholars to publish their work, but it's also sort of a forum for exchanging ideas, right, about India, right, the immense diversity of India's culture. It has two main sections. One is academic articles, right, and the second section, we call it miscellanea. Miscellaneous section, it could be, you know, it's kind of a mixed bag. It could be interviews, it could be reviews, it could be for work in progress, any sort of shorter pieces. And this is where I would like to encourage the doctoral students who are attending the session to you know, have a go and publish something. I mean, publishing an academic article for the first time perhaps is a bit daunting, but certainly miscellanea, you can publish, you know, a shorter text, right? And we'll be delighted to do that. And it's a good way to get into the sort of what it means to publish an academic article, an academic piece of work. We publish in English and Spanish, right? I have to say that the moment we've got sort of like 70% English, 30% Spanish. So those of you who can write in Spanish, we would encourage you to, you know, if you are thinking of contributing something, to do it in Spanish to kind of, you know, balance a little bit, because it is, of course, a Spanish journal. The trouble is, most of the people who started up Indialogs came from English departments in Spain. So it makes sense that, you know, we ourselves write in English and publish in English, and of course people we know also, and spreading the word around. The response we have got is from people, a lot of people in English studies. It is interdisciplinary, so we publish a wide variety of areas. I mean, apart from literature, we also publish work on language, on art, on music, on history, on economics, on environmental concerns, all kinds of things, philosophy, religion. There's a mixed bag. And in the last couple of years, we've had a large response from Indian scholars. So they also found out about Indialogs and they're interested in publishing in it. So that's also, a source of great pride for us, that it's not just, Spanish scholars who are working, who are publishing in Indialogs, also foreign scholars, and in particular from India. Indialogs at the moment is indexed in some databases. We're working to have it indexed in, in more databases, which of course, for those of you not familiar with this, the academic world and, journals and publication, people want to publish in top journals. And to be a top journal, of course, it means you have to be well indexed. And to be well indexed, it means that people have to want to publish with you. And people want to publish with you if a lot of people are interested in publishing, right? So in other words, if, we can, we have to reject a lot of articles. And every year we are rejecting more and more articles because they're not up to standard, for example, right? And it's a difficult decision to make, to actually reject somebody's article when you see they've put a lot of work into it. But sometimes it really is not, suitable for the journal, or it's not really sufficiently academic. So even though it's, we're sorry to do this, on the other hand, this is positive for the journal, because, I mean, if you are rejecting articles, it means you're receiving a lot of them. Okay. Yeah, if you do decide to publish with us, the review process takes between 2 or 3 months, right? It's double-blind peer-reviewed, right, which is very important as well for a journal to be indexed, right? So in other words, we ask 2 reviewers, 2 people who don't know who the author is, to read the article and comment on it and decide whether it's suitable for publication or not. Now, they don't know, obviously the editor knows, I know. I'm out of it, I'm not a reviewer, but the reviewers don't know who the article is by, and of course the author, him or herself, doesn't know who is reading his or her work, right? The idea is to be as objective as possible, right? And the reviewers, try and give if they don't think the article is up to standard or think it needs a bit of revision, then they will say so, and they will point out where it's, where it's gone wrong or what could be improved, right? In fact, in the academic world, it's very difficult that you send an article into a journal, any journal, and they accept it straight away. I mean, normally the usual process is for the reviewers, the editor through the reviewers asks for revisions. I mean, that's the usual process, but one should not be discouraged by that. On the contrary, and very often, the reviewers try to help to improve the article, right? So once the article's been accepted, then it's copy edited. We have copy editors. So if it's in Spanish, it's copy edited by a native Spanish person, and if it's written in English by a native English speaker, just to polish up, the language, suggest perhaps a stylistic improvement. Yeah. Okay, and then once it's been copy edited, then that's it. Then of course we format it and then send you the proofs to read. And this is actually what we're doing at this moment. Well, I've done the proofs. I've sent them off to the authors. They're now replying, saying, well, if there's a comma missing here, or a space, an extra space here, things like that. And so once they've accepted the proofs, that's it. It's published. So we publish once a year in April. It's very important to be, that it's published at the same time every year. Yeah, that's again important for indexation. If it's going to be well indexed, it has to be a regular publication date. And I thought what I could do now is to share the screen with you so you can see what it looks like. If you don't know what it looks like, just in case. Now, the trouble is, you're seeing what it looks like now, but in fact, in a month's time or month and a half's time, it will look a little bit different because we are actually migrating to a new platform. So this is what it looks like now. But I mean, we'll still have the elephant, we'll still have the logo, right? Because the title will be the same, right? But it will look a little bit different. Yeah. So once this, the next volume, number 8, is published, yeah, then a few weeks after that, we will migrate, which is the terminology they used, to the new system. This is my university, because my university, the Autonomous University of Barcelona, provides the platform and any kind of technical support, right? So they have decided that, have a lot of electronic open access journals, and they've decided that, you know, we need to update the platform. So that's the reason for that. So even though you see it, you see this, you know, if you log on to it in a couple of months' time, it will look different. Okay, so just so you see, this is our present issue, right? This is number 7, and it was all about gender, right? And just so you can see the kind of variety of articles that we've published, right? Antonio Navarro Tejera wrote the editorial for this, and we have literary articles, right? Interesting one. This is written in Spanish by Javier Martin about women in Netflix Indian films and shows, right? And then an article on philosophy, right? And then you can see in the miscellaneous section, we have an article. Well, it's not exactly an article; it's a shorter piece on Naxalism and tribes, and then a couple of review, right? And then we have 2 interviews, one in English and one in Spanish. One in Spanish was conducted by Raisa Serrano and Victor Vélez with a filmmaker, Paramita Bora. And the one in English, I conducted it myself with Aparna Sen, right? And I'll just show you the archive so you can see. So that is the present one, gender. You know, if you log on in a month's time, you know, number 8 will be the present one. Number 8 is dedicated to Gandhi, right? Gandhi Revisited, Gandhi Reevaluado. And it's because the conference, which was held in 2017, right? No, sorry, 2018, in Valladolid, this was about Gandhi Revisited. Right? And some of the papers which were presented at that conference, the authors then developed the paper a little bit and sent them in to be published. And there are also some Indian scholars who have sent their articles on Gandhi. So to go down to the very beginning, the first one, this is volume 1, 2014. So this was our kind of debut, right? And just so you see, as it was the first volume, right? We asked, leading academics, right, if they would be interested in contributing an article, right, just to get the, kind of to launch the journal. So have Bill Ashcroft, who, if you're in post-colonial studies, you know who he is. Enrique Gallud, this is in Spanish, right? About Benavente. Joel Kuorti is a Finnish scholar who wrote about the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Joan Martinez Allier and his colleagues. Joan Martinez Allier is an economist who specialized in environmental issues. He's worked a lot on environmental studies in India. And, he's a leading specialist in this area. Then Agustin Paniker, who is, he's very well known. He's an editor and also an author in his own right. He wrote about Ambedkar. Makaram Paranjabi, who's the scholar from, he was in JNU, now he's in Shimla. He wrote about a film based on Gandhi. Oscar Pujol, of course, is also very well known. He used to be the director of Casa Asia. Yeah, he wrote about a text by Octavio Paz, right? And Mohan Ramanan, who's now retired, he was a professor in the University of Hyderabad. He's written a wonderful piece on classical music, South India. And then we had a couple of shorter texts with miscellanea, right? One by Uma Parameswaran and one by Susi Tharoor. So you can see that for the first you know, the first volume, we had a lot of, you know, very important scholars there. Okay, but just, I won't go through all of them, but just so you see the second, sorry, go back. Oh, wait a minute. I've lost it, right. Okay, here we are, archives, yeah, just so you see the kind of heading. I mean, we have a kind of, we usually, apart from the first one, we usually have a theme, which doesn't mean to say that, you know, people can only publish on that theme, because very often we just have like 4 or 5 articles on that theme, and then other people write on other issues. So for example, volume number 2 was all about Indianness. This was the theme, right? And just so you have a look, the kind of things that were written about the, you might be familiar with the White Tiger, that novel. There's something on ecology and religion, something on geography, something on Hanif Qureshi's work, then a text on Bharati Mukherjee's work, and a text on art, right, by Melissa Peiro. This was in Spanish, right, a text on art. So, you know, the idea was to focus on Indianness, but through some of these issues. Okay, just go through that very quickly, just so you see. Okay. The third one was on violences. Let me just mention this one. This was guest edited by Isabel Alonso, who is one of the deputy editors, along with Nacho, Juan Ignacio Oliva, and Guillermo Iglesias. There are 3 deputy editors. And this particular one, Women as Martyrs, Mass Suicides at the Thoa Khalsa during the partition of India. This is by Arunima Day. Arunima Day did her, she's Indian, but she did her doctoral thesis in the University of Salamanca. So, you know, we're very happy to have doctoral students or postdoctoral students, you know, people who've just finished their thesis, you know, sending in their work, right? Then there's a text on Narayan, text on self-mutilation rituals. Yeah. Then another one on art. Yeah. Then this is a text on partition violence, because you know the theme was violence. Yeah. And here a text on well, comparing really. Yeah, and in a text in French and a text in English. Then an article on Sri Aurobindo and the idea of Britishness, yeah, and a text on tourism, right? This is an interesting one. This is written in Spanish about Olivier Junien, who talked about, you know, going around the world. And the last text here again is a philosophical one, right? Then I wanted just to draw your attention to the section on miscellanea, which was all about Sri Lanka. This was focused on Sri Lanka, in particular the civil war, right? So a series of texts and shorter texts, memoirs, and poetry, right? Okay. So just so you see, number 4 was Indic crossings, number 5 was on bodies, number 6 was wrongs, and then our present one, number 7, is on gender. Right? Okay, so just so you see that, you know, we're happy to publish by established scholars and also up-and-coming scholars, right? So we'd be, you know, delighted to have any you know, submissions from doctoral students or people who, or master's students, right? In fact, one of the let me just show you this one, just so you see this was bodies, right? Here in the miscellaneous section, some were some of my students. I asked them to, because they were very excellent students in this was their 4th year students, right? Undergraduate students. And I said, well, you know, we were working on Indra Sina's Animals People, and they were really enthusiastic about it. So I said, well, look, you know, the next issue of India Logs is about bodies. So, you know, would you like to write a short piece and we could publish it in India Logs? And these students, who were, of course, the best, you know, Alex Girona, Oriol Jimenez, Albert Munoz, Paulo Nicolás, Oscar Fort, Helena style. They all wrote some really, really, really interesting essays. Yeah? So we published them here. Okay, so I think that's more or less everything I wanted to say. So I'll stop sharing. And perhaps if you'd like just to ask questions or make comments. And